All right, and we are live. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and web guests. This is District 31's Public Relations Manager for our first live Toastpost, episode number 3. The goal of Toastposts are to introduce you to District 31, introduce you to Toastmasters, and put a little bit of a different spin on District 31 as a whole. And, share the Toastmasters experience globally, not just within our district, within Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So on this special web post, our live web post, I have a special guest here with us. He is a man who does not need an introduction, but I'm gonna give him a short one anyway. He joined Toastmasters roughly 16 years ago by way of Network Voice Toastmasters. He's one of the few people that can say that he has been a district governor and a district director at the same time. And he is our current district director for District 31. He is none other than Stefano McGhee. Stefano McGhee, yay! So if you wanted to introduce yourself to everyone here online, because we're live.
Well, hey there. Thanks for having me on tonight, Anthony. I've only been in Toastmasters since 2005, about halfway through 2005. So it's actually only been about 11 years.
Oh, I added 5. I'm sorry.
My wife's been in for that long. She's been since 2000, which is crazy to me. She brought me in 5 years in. So once she knew it was safe for me, that she decided I could join. But yeah, I've been in for a while. I've done a lot of different roles. Still stay engaged with it because I've learned from other members that when you don't continue to do it, it is like riding a bicycle. You will fall off if you try and get on a bicycle after 5 years. So what I've done is just continue to stay engaged, to stay sharp, and still be able to give good presentations. I was a lector in my military at the military church today when I was at National Guard in Rhode Island. We had a little mass just for folks, and I said, "Oh yeah, I can be your impromptu lector." And they're like, "Whoa, you're gonna read this?" Yeah, sure. So always comes in handy, speaking skills. So I got to stay involved.
That's awesome. So that actually goes into my very first question for you: is what got you into Toastmasters in the first place?
So the joke goes is that my wife made me join, but and people are like, yeah, it's true. She actually needed a guest for guest night and she brought me in, but I ended up joining because I felt like I could use some polish on my presentation skills, but also because I thought it was kind of a neat organization to get in. And it felt like while I was getting help that I could turn around and help other people, which is kind of important to me to be able to have some kind of positive impact on what I do. So that's probably why I joined. One is to kind of keep my presentation skills up to snuff and also to be able to give something back to the people that were helping me out.
That's great. We actually have that in common, is significant others kind of drag you into Toastmasters. One of the things that got me into Toastmasters in the first place is not only did my direct manager back in 2012 want me to join Toastmasters at that time, I kind of thought of it as a social hour club that after 6 p.m. you have cocktails, you talk about random topics. So I know some clubs do that, not all clubs now after experience, but at the time it didn't seem like it would fit what I needed out of public speaking skills. But it wasn't until my now fiance about 2 years ago stated to me that not only was my public speaking in general, I was talking to her about my professional career, but she said that seemed a little standoffish around her friends and other people when I stand up to speak. If I know someone personally, I was really, really good at speaking my mind, but when it came to strangers, I kind of shut down. So that's what drove me to Toastmasters. It's kind of funny that you have a little bit of a similar story in that regard. And my next question, and this is a question that I don't really hear asked a lot, is why are you still in Toastmasters?
Woo. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Sometimes I ask myself the same question. I feel like there is a fair amount of people that join Toastmasters to get something out of it, and it's a very specific thing. It's to be able to give that presentation at work, or to be able to do something at work. They get to a point, they get what they want, and then they leave Toastmasters. They're like, I got what I needed, I'm good, and I'm gone. And that's usually about 18 months or 2 years in. For those that stay a little longer, I think that they realize that there's a lot more work to be done, that they've gotten better, but they can continue to improve, and they will continue to get the benefits. And I think those people stay a little bit longer, maybe like 5 years or 8 years. And then there's those folks that are in, 10 years and longer. And I think they're kind of enamored with the people, is what it comes down to, is that they like the people that they've met. They've built relationships over that time, that they've been refining their speech craft. So I think that people stay a long time because they've kind of found some place where they can fit in, people that they get along with, people that they actually like, not necessarily because they're Toastmasters. They just happen to meet that way, and they continue to meet in this venue that is a Toastmasters club. So that's why I'm still there, is I like the people that I've come to associate with, and I would like to have drinks with them outside of Toastmasters as much as give speeches inside of Toastmasters.
So that kind of goes back to the saying that I heard back at the Vision G contest. If you truly get everything out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters.
Wow. Look at them using wordplay. That's true.
That's good. That's good. And I like hearing that, because I am almost at my 2-year anniversary of Toastmasters, believe it or not. And it's good to hear that there is a longer journey to this. There's a lot of aspects of public speaking that you would need to refine, need to get better. And as you meet additional people and different perspectives, you tend to stay with that group because you always want to learn.
Something that I've spent more time with lately that's been good, because I'm not interested in getting I have my Distinguished Toastmaster Award. I have 1 DTM. I've known people that have gotten multiple DTMs in their time in Toastmasters. That's never interested me. So what I've done now is, now that I have this, let's call it Toastmasters free time, or being unchained from any particular award, is I'm doing a lot of focus on evaluation, trying to make sure that when somebody asks me to be their evaluator, that I provide specific feedback on what they did well, why it went well, and why it matters, but also feedback on what didn't go well, how they could improve it, why they should improve it, and how I can help them improve it if they want that. So adding that in, you don't see that a lot. And I'm still working on trying to perfect it, or make it as good as I can. It can never be perfect, but that's something I feel like is lacking. We're all getting to be better speakers, but good evaluators are hard to come by.
And that actually is a good flow into another question that I have. What is life after DTM? Because a lot of Toastmasters tend to strive to get that Distinguished Toastmaster designation, and then once they get it, what happens after that? There's a lot of times where I see Toastmasters get the DTM and you never hear from them again, because they sought to do all the public speaking manuals, but not necessarily say they perfected the craft that they wanted to do. It takes 6 manuals, but even after doing 5 speeches of those 6 manuals, do you really perfect that? So what is life after DTM?
You've got, as I hinted at before, you've got options. Unless you can do what other folks have done, and so, well, I'm just going to get another DTM. I'm going to work on my next DTM, and that can be your path ahead, because the second DTM will be different than the first one, guaranteed. You talked about those different manuals. Just do them. Just do them. All of them. If they're the ones that you like, the ones that you missed in the first try, don't worry about, oh, I got to get my CC again. Don't worry about that. Just do the manuals that you want to do. Explore the manuals more deeply. You can do that. Like there's the, what do you call it there? The professional, is it professional speaker? That's not what it is.
Successful communication.
You know what I'm
Mark
talking
Better Speaker Series.
Accredited speaker. That's what it is. The accredited speaker program. If you're thinking about going pro, and surprisingly, there are a lot of people that think about that. Going pro, the accredited speaker program is another jump past the DTM. And the last one is just to try to find your own thing, like I'm doing with evaluations, is to say, how can I focus on evaluations? Now, everybody has evaluated me and helped me get better. What can I do to be the very best evaluator so that people say, whoa, I really came away from that knowing what I need to keep doing and what I need to do better. People really like great evaluators, but I just don't think there's enough of them.
That's good.
So those are great options for you.
That's definitely good to hear. What I want to ask next is, what has been your biggest challenge as a district trio officer? You've done the roles multiple times. So what do you find is your biggest challenge out of doing either the club growth director, program quality director, or even district director?
The highest pressure job is that club growth director job. The club growth director is obviously, it's responsible for bringing on new clubs and also club retention. What that means on the back end, in the back office, is they're responsible for revenue. Every time a member pays their dues, 25% of the international dues comes back to the district. Less member renewals is less money for us to spend. If we're going to be distinguished as a district, it's really always the challenge for District 31 has always been retaining clubs, retaining members, and growing it to get to the next level so that we can retain that. It's hard to do that. And that leads me to what is the most challenging part of the whole district trio thing. You can't do the job entirely by yourself, number one. So if you think that, like some people at the club level, oh, I'm the president, I could just do this whole thing myself, and they burn themselves out in a year, it is impossible to run a district by yourself. But the challenge is trying to rally your team to a cause that they can be as excited or passionate about as you. I would like our district to be distinguished, but I have 59 people whose lives don't really change one way or the other, whether we're distinguished or not. How do you inspire them? How do you rally them to be a part of the cause? How do you get them to stand up and follow you and do the things that I need to do to be successful? And I would add that all y'all's out there in the corporate world, this is not a unique challenge. Getting your coworkers, the folks that are direct reports and your extended teams, if you're working your way up through management, to follow you to get something done when you don't have the threat of a paycheck or a job or something else or a bad review. How do you inspire people to do that? And it's very hard because all of us have competing interests, like fiancés, significant others, dogs, second jobs, third jobs for some, money problems, personal issues, you name it. Toastmasters should not be number 1 or number 2 or number 3 on your list. It should be at most number 4 in your life. So how do you get people to prioritize Toastmasters to accomplish a goal? It's very hard, Anthony. It's very hard.
And I'm glad you brought that comparison up, is towards the corporate club. So out of your Toastmasters experience, how does that translate to your personal career, and how do you think it actually translates to professional skills?
Oh, geez. The leadership aspect, which people often don't think about, the leadership aspect of Toastmasters is invaluable to a corporate person that's looking to, whether it's going to be a team lead or to move farther up the management chain. And it's okay, as I like to say to a lot of people, it's okay not to necessarily aspire to that. But even an architect who is a leader in the technical realm needs the skills to understand how to break through, how to put together an agenda for a meeting. You've all been in meetings that just suck. because they have no organization. And it might seem silly to show up with your Toastmasters agenda for a meeting. It works if you start stamping times on there, and this is what we're going to talk about for these times. And if we don't get a decision for this, we're just going to have to move it to the next meeting. But having an agenda, having an organization where you know who needs to do what, and being able to parcel out tasks like VP of membership or a secretary or a treasurer or whatever, breaking down projects into pieces so that different people can take them on, and then dealing with people that are disinterested in doing the work that you want to do, that have competing problems, people problems. They happen in the corporate world, they happen in Toastmasters, and you have to deal with them both. The nice thing about Toastmasters is that you can make a mistake here and no one will fire you. No one will fire you. We can't take away your pay because, believe it or not, you pay to be here. So we can't really take away your pay. So as far as like existing in a corporate culture and even being a great team member, if you take Toastmasters moderately seriously, the experience pays off. And that's not even talking about the speaking part. It's just a leadership piece.
That's great. That's good advice. And I want to ask you, and maybe not my last question, but probably my next to last question. What is your future goals with Toastmasters?
I don't know. It's a good one. In the immediate future, well, I say in the near future, like let's say once this year ends in Toastmasters on June 30th, I want to be something that we haven't had in a few years, this year excluded, which is a very, what I like to call an activist, immediate past district director. A lot of times for many years in the past, the immediate past district director this year is Rick Weiner. They tend to fall off the radar. People don't see them anymore. Where are they? What are they doing? And they're not necessarily ready to provide any kind of additional support to the district leadership that they might need. And next year, I have suggested, and it's being received well, that I run a conference next year as a conference chair, which is, I don't know if we've ever done that in District 31, but the idea is that having somebody that knows the challenges, knows where the money is, who to talk to, what he can approve, what he shouldn't approve, and that would be huge, and it would help the team out, having an experienced person on the team to be able to handle a subtask like that. Farther up, I've toyed with the idea. I've gone back and forth. I think I've talked to you a little bit about it as well, Anthony, about trying to go to be a board member. That's a large time investment. But some might say, why would you do that? And it's the same reason that I got to be district director and do those other jobs, is because in my head, and it's a flawed thought, in my head, I feel like the farther up I go, the more positive work that I can do for a greater group of people. As a club president, I can help 15, 20, 25 people. As an area director, I got a shot at helping 100, maybe $125. As a division director, I could help hundreds of thousands of people. As a district director, now it's almost 5,000 people that I can try and get some good done for them. The next level up, it could be hundreds of thousands of members. Actually, it's the whole organization. So hundreds of thousands of Toastmasters that I could try and do some good for, that maybe they could look and say, look at that guy. He's looking out for us. He's trying to do something good for us. That's a good thing. So that's what's in my head. Maybe it doesn't always work out that way. You know, we always have to aspire, but it's possible that I would do that. I'm still thinking about it, but that's what would be my future Toastmasters aspirations, is how can I continue to help the members get the most out of Toastmasters.
Beautiful statements. Wow.
Hey, not prepared.
What I would like to ask as my last question, and it's kind of a follow-up question to what you just stated, is what is your goal once you finish your term as district director this Toastmasters year in June? How do you see District 31?
Well, that's like two different questions, right? Do you want to know what my goal is? Oh, what is my goal for the year, or what is my goal for next year?
I say both. They go hand in hand.
The goal for this year is, by the book, would be to be distinguished. I would like to have a distinguished district again, which means that, you know, we'll be in the upper half of districts. We'll need to start a bunch more clubs and get more members. And I do that because in here, that means to me what it means for a club is that our district is functioning properly, that we're starting new clubs, expanding Toastmasters to more people, which is the job of the district, and making sure that we have as high quality membership. That's the official goal. The unofficial goal is for people to be able to think back and say, we had a good time that year. We had fun. I went to some fun events. I saw some cool stuff. I like listening to this guy talk. He had a lot of awesome people on his team that cared about the work that we did. And he did his best with this Anthony Alexander guy to publicize as much stuff as we could. So letting people know that they had a functional, positive leadership experience, that people were looking out for them, and to be remembered as such would be an awesome goal. Next year, it would be to simply be an active supporter of making sure next year is even more successful than this year. What I've said in many of these talks that I've had with my folks, the area directors and the division directors, is that I really don't try not to use metaphors, and sports metaphors even less, but it is that time of year. Every district administration is moving the football down the field. Wherever we get to, we turn it over to the next administration team. It is our duty to move the football forward. We must move the football forward. That respects the work that was done by the last team that moved it to this point. If we slide back, we are disrespecting our predecessors. My goal is to make sure that the football moves forward. The next team must be better than we were. That's the goal, is to support them in being better than I was.
If better is possible, good is not enough. I like it.
Better.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up this Toastpost. I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with me and record live once again. And it was a little bit last minute, so I want to thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule on Sunday to record with me. So thank you again, Stefano. For everyone out there, we're going to continue to do these Toastposts, similar style. I'll give updates periodically about District 31. I'll also interview other district officers and also other Toastmasters around the district, so you get a little bit of better picture of District 31 and how we operate. All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I want to thank everyone for actually tuning in when it's actually live on our channel. If you like this video, please like the like button below and subscribe to our channel. We're going to try and get as much content here as possible that has to do with Toastmasters and getting the experience of every member, not necessarily just educational content, but just learning about other Toastmasters. So thank you for joining us, and cheers.